Welcome to our today's webinar for Alma Digital Future Ready, focus on the management of collections and configurations of digital workflows in Alma. I am Yvonne Malikasi, Customer Success Manager here at ProQuest Ex Libris, and I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to present Alma Digital for you today. And so before we fully start, I would like to already take this opportunity to thank all of you for your kind participation here today, which is greatly appreciated. So this will be an hour-and-a-half webinar, and the first 15 minutes will be around looking at the slides presentations, and then the rest of the webinar will go live demonstrations we're going to be doing using the live environment of Alma and looking at the Alma digital workflows. So our agenda for today, we are going to do a short introduction to Alma URM, the Unified Resource Management Framework, and we'll look at the Alma digital architecture and the details of the Amazon Web Services, the data storage, and then we'll move at the data resource model and hierarchy. From there, we'll look at understanding the digital resources for our regions in Alma. And after that, we'll play around with methods of digital creation. So we're going to go into the live environment and we'll look at the configurations and digital workflows. Okay, again, as I mentioned a while ago, please do submit your questions by using the Q&A panel, and we're going to allocate time for the questions and answers. So Alma Digital is part of Alma Unified Resource Management Framework, also known as URM. So it has three components. We have the print, electronic, and digital, where it uses a single platform to manage the full scope of your library's assets for print, electronic, and digital resources. And your users can then discover all these resources through your discovery service for Primo and Salmon Discovery. And as per the Alma digital architecture, Alma uses the Amazon Web Services Simple Storage Solution S3 cloud service as the backend for the digital assets stored in Alma. So the access keys are managed and generated in Alma from the configuration general digital storage to be used by the third-party applications to upload files and to communicate directly with the S3. So the AWS S3 is deeply integrated into Alma workflow, where sometimes you don't even need to access it outside Alma. However, occasionally you might have some huge files in there, and sometimes you might want to already upload all your data in the S3 Amazon Web Service, and you then need to use these third-party applications. So we have like the Alma Digital Uploader, we have the AWS command line interface, the S3 browser, or the third-party FTP-like interfaces. The digital assets in Alma are stored in one of AWS regions. So we have the European, the North America, and the APAC regions, depending on the location of the Alma data center. And in each region, an S3 bucket or storage location is defined. Following here are the European, and later on you'll see also the North America AWS regions and bucket. And the sandbox details apply to both the standard and premium. Basically, these are the details that you need to use if you would need to access your bucket at those S3 storage. And that's the European, and this is the North America details for this bucket. If you need further info in regards to the cloud storage service, you might want to go directly to Ex Libris Developers Network online under Alma Digital. And when it comes to understanding the folder structure of this bucket, the top level directory within the bucket is for the Alma institution code. So this is to ensure data isolation to access only the materials in your home directory. And under the institution code, there are two directories, one for uploading and one for archiving. So the upload directory with read-write access is where materials can be placed before being processed by Alma, and the read-only access storage directory is where Alma stores files that have been added and managed as digital inventory in Alma. And concerning the storage limits for the production environment and the sandbox environment in Alma, in production environment, the storage is based on the subscription agreement with Alma Digital, including the metadata and all the digital objects uploaded to S3 storage. For your standard sandbox, we have up to 10 gigabyte free total storage that you can use, and the replication of digital objects loaded from the production environment is not included. If you are using the premium sandbox, you have up to 50 gigabyte total free of storage that you can use. Available read only the records updated from the production environment. And I also have to note that there's no parameter that needs to enable the creation of digital resources at your Alma production environment. However, for testing purposes, we do not recommend that you use your production environment. And we highly recommend that you take advantage of all these free gigabyte that we're offering to you to use it at your sandboxes if you want to start testing the Alma digital workflows. At the same time, I also have placed in here a link to the online documentation when it comes to the differences between the standard and the premium sandboxes. So let's now talk about the data model of the digital resources. Digital resources are organized in Alma in a three-level hierarchy. As with the physical and electronic resources, in digital resources, the highest level is the bibliographic record, which contains the metadata of the resource. The middle level is the representation level. This layer acts as a container for digital files. It is possible to attach multiple representations to the bibliographic, and one representation can be the master copy and a derivative copy, which can differ from format, resolution, and size. The third level is the file level, which is the digital files of the asset, and there can be several files in each representation. A unique feature in Alma is the collection capability of the collection discovery. Collection discovery is an entity that aggregates related bibliographic records that have a relationship. It can be based on a specific topic or subject. It can include records with different types of assets like physical, electronic, and digital. However, the digital, all digital objects must belong to a collection. It can be used in searching, publishing, and import profiles, and it can be suppressed to not be displayed in discovery. Structurally, it can be top-level or sub-collections, and the sub-collections are children of top-level collections or other sub-collections. We'll play around in a minute at how to create collections, so hold on. When it comes to digital resources paradigms in Alma, Alma manages digital resources in two ways. We have the remote, which is the integration with the remote digital repositories, where metadata is managed in Alma, while files are managed in another system. And then we have the non-remote, where the digital assets are fully managed in Alma, including metadata management and the file storage. And as per integrating the remote digital asset management in Alma, Alma supports the bidirectional synchronization, allowing users to update metadata on both systems. Updates in the remote repository can be collected by Alma, and updates in Alma can be published again in the remote repository that supports the Open Archive Initiative Protocol for Harvesting Metadata, which is the OAI PMH. Okay, so this actually now brings us at the list of the methods for creating digital resources. So we're now going to do live demonstration. First, we're going to look at how we can create and manage the collections. Then we're going to add your presentation. We're going to also look how we can prepare the metadata file, what are the best practices that we need to follow. And we're also going to do ingest for digital content in bulk by using the digital import profile and the digital uploader within Alma and also outside Alma. We're going to look how we can use that. At the same time, we're going to have a pick at the SS3 browser. So you will understand how the upload and the storage folder is actually representing outside Alma. From there, we'll move into understanding how we can integrate our remote digital repositories in Alma and how we can migrate, of course, our resources in the Amazon. And from there, of course, it depends on our needs. We can also withdraw the metadata in Alma if need be. So I'm going to showcase that to you, these workflows. After that, we'll look at how we can configure the viewers, the Universal, the Internet Archive viewer, and the Alma viewer. And then we're going to play around with the access rights and the copyright management for digital objects. And we're going to showcase this newly released controlled digital lending using the patron waitlist. At the same time, after that, I'm also going to show you some really nice examples of digital resources in Alma. So what you can actually really do in Alma to be prepared for the future of the digital resources within your library. And lastly, here we also have the roadmap, the coming roadmap for the digital resource management for this year, of course, and next year, 2022, and what is stored in the future of the coming 2023. Okay, I also want to note that all the documentations that we're going to use at this webinar are also all listed here at the presentation. So we have the related document sections here with the link to all the documentations that we are using for the understanding of the Alma digital workflows and resources in Alma. I want to note that we will be sending you this presentation together with the recording of the webinar. So I'm now going to be exiting the presentation here because we're going to do the live demonstration. Let me put this back at the list of the digital resources creations in here because maybe we need to come back here to check our path. Again, if there is anything that I'm missing, please, my colleague Daria, just let us know. I believe everybody is hearing us perfectly and seeing the video. Okay, before I go and move into the live demonstration at the Alma Live environment, I want to showcase first our collection discovery in the Primo demo that we have in here. We really have a very nice collection discovery here. I'm still not signed in. However, as you can see, I already can see all the collections that we have in Alma. I want to take note also to inform you that you can place your collection discovery anywhere in your website, at your library, and showcase your beautiful collections at your users. Not only within Primo, but you can actually deep link it wherever at your library sites. In this case, as you can see, we really have some nice collections in here. Later on, we will see the details in Alma. For example, if I open this art collection for Picasso and Van Gogh, we have the sub-collections in there where it also sits all the beautiful titles and their digital representations. So this is how the Discovery collection works and appear. Now we're going to log into Alma, so I'm going to show you how you can start creating collections in Alma. So that will be the first at our list, creating and managing collections. There are actually various ways of creating collections in Alma, so I'm going to show them to you. The first one is by going to the resources and then creating a collection. I want to note as well, before we do that, is you need the digital inventory operator and digital inventory operator extended together with the collection inventory operator in order for you to manage digital resources in Alma. So you would need to have that user role first. Then you need to go to the resources. Under the resources, you can see we have manage inventory. Under manage inventory, you will find manage collections. And from here, this is the place where you're going to find where your collections are sitting. From here, you can search for collection, you can sort by, you can reorder them, you can move them if need be. In your case, I'm not sure if you already are using the managed collection or the collection discovery in Alma. Maybe you still don't have any collection in here. So if that is the case, you can add a top level collection here singularly. This is the first way of creating collection. As you can see, you have the bibliographic record at the top where you can select the record format depending on the configuration that you have at your Alma environment. The format that you will find in there. You will need to give a title, and you have an option to suppress the discovery, the collection from your discovery. Maybe you're not ready to showcase it yet, so then you want to suppress it. Down here below, you have the general information that you can provide. Again, the name of discovery, the description, and very importantly, you need to assign a library where this collection belongs to. You also have an option to provide external system and external ID, and also to upload a thumbnail for the collection. So you want to represent it very nicely because it can be a digital collection. So you want to provide a thumbnail to the collection. You also have an option to place it before at the bottom or the top of the list of your collections. You might have noticed that we also have forms in here below, depending on the record format of your Alma environment. You can already prepare template forms for different digital workflows in your library. For example, if you are using deposit, you already can create a form to be used for deposit or for the staff-mediated deposit workflow or for adding representation. So every collection is used at this different workflow. Let's say there is a collection that you would use for deposit or for adding representation. So then you can already select that specific form that you have created at your metadata configuration to be used for this specific collection. For the purpose of this webinar, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to use that. There's another separate topic on that when it comes to deposit and digitization. And then once you're ready, you can either save this and save and continue. So you can also create a sub collection at this new collection. I'm not going to save this because I want to showcase another way of creating collection, which is by the use of the import profile. And another way to create collection apart from the import profile is the API. So you can also go to your developers network, and then from the API console, you'll find also the API collection API. So you can actually retrieve all your collections in your Alma. You can create collections. You can update collections. You can retrieve the bibs in your collections and then add bib to collections. So you can see you can actually use the API directly by creating locations in your Alma. And the third way of creating collections is, again, as I mentioned, by the use of your import profile. So in this case, I'm going to go to the Manage Import Profile, and I'm going to add a new profile here. So by clicking Add New Profile, you can select Collections, and then by clicking Next, you have an option to use EAD file, so the encoded archive description, or an OAI PMH list sets of collections. Of course, if you're part of the network, you can upload it to your network zone. Then you provide a name here, and you select your target format. And then the next step will be like setting the management tags if you want to suppress or unsuppress the newly created collection. At the same time, providing the library where these collections will go into. So for the purpose of the webinar, I did already created a digital collection import profile here. As you can see, I have a collection import via EAD file. So let me open that. And I am not suppressing the collection. I just assigned it to a specific library in here at my demo profile. At the same time, I also have prepared here my EAD file. So let me open my folders. I want to create a collection that is called Works of Leonardo. So I have like 3 images in here that I will use for the thumbnails. I want to have 1 collection and then 2 sub-collections in there. Let me open my EAD file here, a very simple EAD file. I have the top level collection there where I have the thumbnails, and I have also placed 2 sub-collections in here. So in this case, the import profile, you would need to compress the folder in a zip folder in order for you to upload it and use the import profile. So what I'm going to do here now, I'm going to run this profile. I'm going to select the zip folder that I've just shown you. So let me select that here, and I'm going to add this at this import profile. Alma will now going to split that, and I now have the option to submit that. Submitting this will provide me also the way to refresh the job history, so I can push Alma to finish that as soon as possible. In this case, I can see that it's successfully completed. I can now view this collection by going to the report. I can see there that I have this imported records, so I can then preview this newly created collection. So I have there the Works of Leonardo, which is a top level collection, and I have 2 sub collections in here. If I go back at my resources, manage collections, I should actually now find the Works of Leonardo at the bottom of the list. Hold on, there you go. There's my Works of Leonardo in there, newly created. Let me select that and let me reorder that and put that at the top of my collections. So I have the Works of Leonardo that we've added via import profile. And if I edit that, I will be seeing as well the 2 sub-collections very nicely sitting in there. And I have to show you as well that these 2 sub-collections are empty. You can see we have an empty collection in there for the engineering Works of Leonardo, and the paintings is also empty. So that is the way to create collections. So we've seen that we can create collection by the use of the resource, manage collection, creating a top level collection. And we also notice that we can create via API. At the same time, we can create a list of collections by using the import profile. I actually only create 1 collection because it's just a purpose of showing you how you can use the import profile to import collections. Okay, so now this brings us at the second bullet, which is to add representation. You can actually add representations in various ways. So the first way to add representation is by going to the resource and then looking at the create inventory, add digital representation. So by clicking the add digital representations, you have an option to provide the descriptive information. So you have an option to create new representation details or existing representation. Again, you can select the record format in there. If you are part of a network, you can place your record in the network. You can select the collection where this representation will go to and the title where you want to create the digital representation. You have other options in here that you can fill in, and you can, of course, suppress it again at discovery. Down here below, you have some different fields that you would love to fill in, like the usage type, and you need to add it a specific library. At the same time, you have an option to already provide the access rights policy in here. In this case, I'm not going to create a new one, but however, I'm going to create an existing representation. So I want to actually select a title. So if I select a title from this list, I can actually create a representation for any record that I have in Alma. So in this case, I'm going to search for a keyword within my titles in Alma for Leonardo, because we have the Works of Leonardo collection here. I have few electronic resources in here. So let me select the second one, which is actually belonging to an electronic collection there from the eBook Central. Let me select that. It's an electronic book where I have, again, the collection in here where I can select. Actually, I can already also add this title within the collection and then create a representation over the title. But in this case, as I did not add this as title, I can create directly the representation at the title. So here we need to select a collection. So I'm going to search for the works of Leonardo that we have just recently added at our collection list. So we have now going to create an existing representation for this electronic title. Then below here, we have the representation details. If you want to create the representation at your remote repository, then you can select remote in here, where it will provide you additional information concerning the remote representation details below. So before I go there, let me show you what you can do here at the representation details. You can add a usage type, so either master or derivative. In this case, I will use master. You will add the library where this representation belongs to, and you have other informations here below where you can fill in. If you are creating a representation remotely, you would need to select your remote digital repositories in here. So by selecting the remote digital repositories, it will use the configuration that you already have in Alma for your remote digital repository, and then you would need to provide the originating record ID and the linking parameter in here to be used for this representation. For the purpose of this webinar, I'm not going to create remotely. However, I'm going to showcase to you that you can also directly use your folder, your upload folder at Amazon. If you have maybe already uploaded an image there or the digital restores, you already placed in your upload folder, you can actually locate it here directly to be used for this digital representation, or you can upload directly from your local hard drive. So from this case, I'm going to add files. I'm going to go to my folder where I already have ready the selfie of our dear friend Leonardo in here. I'm going to use that. And in this case, I'm going to assign a digital representation at this electronic book sitting in an electronic collection where we're going to put it in our collection at Works of Leonardo. So I'm going to save this. I believe I have not forgotten anything in here. Later on, we will go back to provide the access rights policies for representation. So we actually just created a representation for an existing title. Notice here, we added our thumbnail in there, and this belongs to an electronic collection, and now we have a digital representation for this electronic resource. So we now have two different types of resources in here. And as you can see here, we also have a link to the files within our Alma resources. If I go back at our manage collections in there, and if I go at the Works of Leonardo, I should actually now see at the titles. Oops, just click edit in there. Oh, it's not making me edit the Works of Leonardo. There you go. I should not see that the titles now have some content. And if I look in there, I will see that book, electronic book, and we should have a representation for that title. It actually already added automatically as well the title within the collection. So that is how you can add a representation. And if I go now at our collection discovery in here and refresh, we should now be seeing the Works of Leonardo there being added. You can see there beautifully. And if I open that, I should see the two sub collections We're just waiting for the file to be updated, the one that we had just recently added. Another way to add representation is again by using the API. So I'm going back to the API here, and we also have digital representations. For those of you who are happily using the API, you can retrieve your representations, create representation, update them, delete them. You can also create representation files directly by using API. So basically, you can upload your images in your AWS S3 folder. You can just let them sit there and then create the files via the API without even going to Alma. So this is what is nice about the API consoles and the way of creating big records in Alma by the use of the API. So that's basically two ways. You can, of course, also search within your resources in Alma, any record that you find in Alma, and then you open the metadata editor, you can add representation via that way. The other way that I want to showcase to you is, of course, by the use of the digital uploader in conjunction with the import profile. So we need to add another import profile here, a digital import profile. And from here, we have an option to, again, use remotely. I'm not going to do that because I want to showcase you in a minute. Then you have an option to select a source format that you want to use to import your digital resources. In this case, you can use binary, CSV, Excel, or XML file. I'm going to use XML here for this webinar. And you have the source format that you can select in there. And of course, most importantly, you can also schedule the import profile to run by itself on any given time or in a given day that you wish. Let's say maybe every second of every month at 9, or every day at 2, or whatever you want. And then you can basically save this scheduler. It means you are automatically making the digital import profile run, and then look at the ingest folder in your AWS folder for the ingest, and then upload it automatically for you in Alma. Then the minute you go next, you have an option to use to filter the content by using any normalization rules, and also by setting up the matching profile, and as well suppressing the content in discovery. And lastly, you also have the inventory information in here. So as I've already created a digital collection import profile for the purpose of this webinar, I'm going to showcase this to you. As you can see, I'm using XML in here. I also set it to run every month at 1 p.m. And then I'm using a add to be collection normalization rules. So I want to, because I'm going to be copying the collection ID and putting it into my XML file. I'm not doing the matching profile. I'm not suppressing it. However, at the inventory information, I'm going to use the collections of Leonardo that we have just recently added here. So I want to go these representations to go at these collections. Notice that we also have a way to create the representation details here, because we're using the XML. We can select the usage type for these representations. We can then extract the fields. We can then extract. It depends. I see a question popping up in there. You can use it for the high resolution, your master files, and then derivative for a low resolution. But then again, it depends on the rules of your library. Here you can extract the labels from different fields in your XML file. Maybe you have your label in the 245, so you can say extract the label from the 245. You have the note from a specific field and subfields in here. You can group the files by regular expression or by using a specific link parameter in here. Then you give the value here at the right-hand side. You would need to add a library for these representations to belongs to, and then here you can also already set the access rights policy. In this case, I'm not going to do that because I'm going to showcase later on the access rights policy. Then you need to click Add Representation, and your representation details will be available here below. Notice also that we have the file details here where we're going to be extracting the file name at the 856 subview field. And then I'm going to save this because I want to use that Works of Leonardo collection. And before I fully go into Resource Digital Uploader, I want to first show you how you can prepare your metadata file, which is very, very important. So I'm going to open an online document here for ingest. You can find this Developers Network. Just type ingest or Google ingest Developers Network. This is basically the walkthrough built-in functionality to ingest digital resources in bulk at one time. So this will explain the details of the ingestion process in Alma and the use of the MD import profile that we're basically just showcasing right now. Why am I showing this to you? Because here you can also find the metadata files. That's why I want you to be aware of it. Here you can see each ingest must contain at least one metadata file which are meant to be ingested into Alma. And here you can see all the format that Alma supports. We have the XML for Dublin Core. This comes for the single DC XML and also for multiple DC records. We have a really nice examples in here, as you can play around already. We also have the MARC XML here for single and multiple MARC records that you can use at your MD import. We have the mods as well, the version 3 and higher for, again, for single and multiple mods records. You can use this example. And most importantly, we also have the CSV format here. So here you can see the source CSV and the target mapping. The CSV format is being used a lot because it's really very easy. You just need to have your CSV file with all these CSV fields, and it will automatically assign them to the Alma fields. You can see there, we have all the CSV fields, and down here below, we also have the representation fields. You can also use a policy, rights access policy, if you have right access policies on your repositories, and other information here. Down here below, this document also provides the structure of the ingest folder within your Amazon folder. So the institution code, the MD import profile ID, basically that's the one that's being used for the ingest, and then it also grabs the random unique identifier of the ingest for the structure ingest folder, and also some information here for the thumbnails. So I recommend to have a quick read here. At the same time, let me also open a very important one, which is the one we're going to showcase now. We have the creating digital content in bulk. This is the one we're going to do now live. I'm opening this because this is where you can find the preparation of the XML file, metadata file. Here, it also explained that you can use the MARC XML collection assignment, and you can use the add to the collection normalization task. If you have your 787 fields at your MARC, you can then assign directly to your collections or your sub collections. And down here below, you can see all the beautiful examples of the metadata file together with the targeting the specific collection IDs in there. We have the DC collection, the mods, again, the preparation and CSV metadata file, and down here below, CSV to Dublin core mapping and other info there when it comes to adding thumbnail to the ingest. So we are going to now be using our uploader. So I'm going to go click the uploader there. However, I also want to showcase to you that I have already created my files in here ready to go with all the digital image, and I also have my MARC XML in there. So I have couples of files, couples of content that I want to go to specific collections. So what I'm going to do before we move into that uploader, I want to first copy before I forgot, because or else it will not go to any collection. Let me copy here first this Mona Lisa collection and then add this, because the first one here, I want to go at the top level collection. It will create a representation for the paintings of Leonardo. It will add these 3 files down there. And then the second one, I want it to go to Mona Lisa. However, I need to add the there the collection ID. And also for these, the second and the third, I want to use this engineering ID in here. So let me now do this while very, very quick. I know you guys have patience. So 1 second. I am, of course, very excited about this session. So I'm also a little bit, my hands a little bit shaking. Okay, so I have saved this. I'm going to close this. My files here are ready to go. I'm now going to go to resources, digital uploader. And notice that the digital uploader, we have the insert into, and here is where we can select our digital import, where we have the works of Leonardo, where we have assigned the digital import profile that we have created. You can, of course, select whatever collection you want your upload to go. However, in this scenario, I will use my works of Leonardo. Here, we can add a new ingest. We are inside Alma here. We're using the uploader inside Alma. So I'm going to create the first ingest. Notice the ingest random ID. I'm going to add my files. I'm going to go to my folders, Leonardo there with my bulk upload. And I'm going to select all the files that I have prepared for this digital uploader. Notice that I can upload them all. So I'm going to click upload all. We'll be basically uploading them to my folder, the Amazon S3 folder. And then once they're all uploaded, I will have the status of upload complete. If we have set our collection digital import to automatically run on a specific day or time, then it will grab this ingest and it will upload it for us automatically. So we don't need to worry. We can just add many ingests in here and just sit and enjoy our day in the library and just let the digital import do the job automatically by itself. Or we can just actually just use the uploader outside Alma and then do the ingest automatically by itself. In this scenario, though, I did not, so I have the option here to submit this to Alma. So I'm going to click submit, and notice now I have the run MD import button available for me. When I click this, Alma I will be submitting the import job to Alma, and then I have an option now to monitor the import. So view monitor import. I can see there that it's in process, digital import for Leonardo, and then of course I have the option to refresh here, and there you go. It is completed successfully. I can then view the imported records here. Let's see that, and it will showcase all those beautiful paintings of Leonardo, which is, it provides me a new digital under the Works of Leonardo collection. And down here below, I have other digital content. This one is nicely sitting now at the engineering collection there, and the other files, like the Mona Lisa, should now be sitting at the paintings collection. So it imports very nicely. If I go now at my manage collections, and if I go look at the inside Leonardo there, I should see, first of all, if I look at the title here, I should have another one called paintings. There you go. The paintings of Leonardo with a representation with 3 images in there. So if I edit this representation, I can see the file list with all those beautiful 3 paintings of Leonardo in there. In this case, now that I'm here, I'm going to add an access rights here, where I already have set up an access right policy for 1 user within 2 minutes. So let me grab that. We're going to go there in a minute to explain how you can configure that. I just want to assign it here. Now that I'm here, I'm going to save this. So we're going to showcase that in a minute, how the patron waitlist for controlled digital lending works for these paintings of Leonardo. And if I now go to the sub-collections, I should see that inside the engineering, I have those beautiful works of Leonardo there for the Balestra and the other files in the other file in there. And of course, the paintings, I should have the Mona Lisa there sitting at the paintings of Leonardo. So that is how you can use the uploader inside Alma. Now I want to show you, of course, you can use it outside Alma. So you need to go and search for Alma digital uploader online. You can find it at the GitHub, and you can download it and install it at your local machine. And here you can also find the help file where it will tell you how you can configure it. It will tell you that you need to have the access key and the secret key, and you need to create an API key. So you need to go back to Alma on your configuration. You go on configuration, resources, digital storage, and from here you can generate your access key. In this example, in my demo environment, I already have generated, so I don't have the generate link. But in your case, you might still have here how you can generate your keys, and then you go back to the developers network and then create your API key. And once you have that, you then download the uploader and then launch it locally and configure it with all your keys. So in this case, I have the uploader here. You can basically put your institution code for Alma, add your access key, your secret key, and then select your storage location where you are sitting, where your Alma data center is sitting. In this case, I am in Europe. And then you have your API key in here, and then you save it. Then you can use the uploader outside Alma. You can run an ingest. Again, the same process. You select the collection where the digital import is sitting. Let's say I'm just going to select the first one here at the top. And here you can add an ingest. So again, giving the ingest a name, and then, oops, I know 2 ingests here. And then add the files to the ingest. So it's the same process. I'm just going to do a very quick demo, and then the file you can then submit. Once it's submitted, you can then submit your ingest into Alma by again clicking the import profile collection that you have submitted. Again, if the import profile is set automatically, it will just look at the ingest folder and it will process it automatically. At the same time, let me also showcase you the SS3 browser. You can download the SS3 browser outside online and install it at your local machine. I'm actually using here a free SS3 browser. So I'm getting this pop-up, annoying pop-up. So please ignore that. It will pop up once in a while. Here, when you have installed your SS3 browser, you can create an account here. It's the same process. When you create an account, it will ask you for your access key and your secret key that you have generated in Alma. You need to provide it in here. And once you have your account, you need to create a new bucket. When you create a new bucket, you provide your Alma institution code and then your bucket region. So again, where your Alma location is. And then once you have your bucket, you can then now access here your folders. Notice here I have my storage folder and my upload folder. So if I go to my upload folder, I can see all the MD metadata import ID. These are the digital import ID. And inside, I can then also see the ingest random ID identification in here. So I can actually upload already using these third-party tools. I can place here within my upload folders, the big files that I want to upload in Alma, or maybe I have so many digital resources that I want to use, and I don't have time to log into Alma, so I can already use these tools outside of Alma. So this is the SS3 browser. Again, as you can see, it's really very simple to manipulate them outside Alma. So if I go now and refresh again our collection discovery here, we should see the newly created resources that we have just uploaded very nicely. I have here, this is the book with the electronic version. If I click that, I should have two versions there. You can see this is the digital resource that we have uploaded locally. And I can see I have the ebook central electronic resource, and I also have the digital resource that we have added singularly. And here I also have these paintings of Leonardo, where I am not allowed to view as I am not a registered user, because we have added the access rights in here. So we're not yet allowed to view it, because also I'm not actually signed in here. So later on, we're going to be signing in. Okay, so that is the digital import with the use of digital uploader, adding representation and digital resources in Alma. And this brings us at our fourth bullet, which is the remote digital repository. So you can configure remote digital repositories to be used in Alma. So there are clients who want to, directly access their resources by using the remote digital repositories. You can do that by going to the configurations, resources, and from here you will, under the record import, you will find remote digital repositories. Alma provides series of remote digital archives out of the box. As you can see here, we have a long list. We have like DSpace, Rosetta, Digitool, Fedora, Equella, Omeka, Bpress, Digital Commons in OAI formats. So if you are working with different format, our team or the implementation team or the person who will be helping you will help you then transform in a different format. If you're working with a different format such as non-OAI Dublin Core or a non-OAI Mark 21 or delimited text, you must convert them to one of the supported OAI formats before attempting to import them. So from here, you can use these out of the box digital repositories and add your remote digital repositories in here. Notice you have the option to select here the remote system type. So the minute you select them, you then select your format and you provide the OAI details information in order to harvest your repository. As part of the remote digital repositories, there are also a set of rules. Let me showcase that to you with a repository here that is already set up. We already have set of rules that determines how to create the metadata and the bibliographic records of the digital remote representations. So the rules are the transformer rules. You can see here we have the tab. They're logically divided into two types. So we have the record identifier, which is general rule, used internally by Alma to import the digital assets. And then we have the representation rules that defines the mapping between the import record values and the remote representation. Also, we also have the delivery tab in here, which includes the number of configuration that supports the viewing the uploaded remote digital assets. So you can give the name, and then we have the object template URL for viewing the remote digital assets, and you can have the thumbnail URL, the thumbnail template, so for generating the link to the thumbnail resource of an object, and then we have the access right template URL to check the access rights policies in the remote repository. At the same time, you can also choose to embed in Alma your content in here. Then once you are ready, you would need to go back and assign this to your resources. Go back to Alma and then go manage import profile, and then select a create a remote digital repository. So in this case, you add a new profile, digital again, and select the remote. In this case, this is the time that you're going to select remote, and from here, you will going to be selecting the remote digital repositories that you have integrated in Alma. So it will use all the OAI. It will use the OAI protocol here for importing metadata, and you will use the OAI details in there. Let me showcase to you a profile here that we already are using with the OAI protocol, in this case, the harvest from Rosetta. There you go, we have the OAI details here. You need to give a set of records. You can actually test them and connect to the your remote data repositories. Of course, you can also, again, schedule that it will run automatically by itself. Once you import your repositories in Alma, you can then find them in Alma by searching your remote repositories. In this case, let me showcase to you what we already have in this demo environment. You will find them in Alma. However, you'll find them still only the metadata in Alma, and you will see that they are still linking to your repositories. You can see these examples in here. We have the master digital versions. However, we're still linking to this space, archive space, and we don't have the files in Alma. It depends on your requirements. If this is okay for you, then you can just keep it like that and keep the files in your repositories, and you just link to your repository. This will nicely also appear at your Primo environment. However, it will link to your repository because we don't have the files in Alma. If you want to migrate your repositories in Alma, then all you need to do is to create a set out of this result, out of this content, and then that set, you can then run a job to migrate your repositories. So you can say, run a job. You need to choose the migration job, and you have an option to select remote representation migration. Select that job, and then it will work on a set that you have created. So let's say if you have created a set at that remote repository results, let's say, for example, here I have the archive space to migrate, then you can migrate them by using the delivery URL or providing another URL for the migration. You can provide some different informations in here, like the representation parameters. And then once you are ready, you can then submit the migration job. So you can migrate all your remote metadata repositories into Alma. So the minute you migrate them, because we still have the resources that is sitting at your repositories that we have imported in Alma, then you're going to get duplicates. So in this case, an example, I have here an example of a digital file where we do the migration. One of the files is still at the digital repositories. We don't have the files in Alma, and the migrated file is now represented with the representation details in Alma. Notice that the first one, it will still go and use the remote digital repositories there with all their rows to link to the repository. And then the second one, it will show us the representation, digital representation of the resource, because it's now sitting in our Alma Amazon storage folder. So we're now having two files in there. What you need to do, you can clean this up by still using the same set and then running the withdrawal job. So this is what we call the two-way migration. Then you need to do withdrawal. And from here, you need to withdraw digital representation. You click next. you use the same set that you use for migration, and then you will provide the parameters to Alma saying this repository name with all these files, this remote file, this entity, and so on and so forth. I want to delete them in Alma. And then you submit the withdrawal of the digital representation. In that case, then you're only going to end up with one digital resource in Alma, the one that you had migrated into Amazon. I mean, into Alma, sitting in your Amazon bucket folder. Okay, so that is actually our remote digital repositories migration and withdrawal digital representation. I am very keen of the time. We are now 5 o'clock. We still have 30 minutes to go. Okay, so this brings us now into our another point to showcase the configurations of the universal viewer and the Alma viewer. So you can go to configuration and fulfillment. Under discovery interface logic, you will find viewer services. Under the viewer services, you can activate different viewers in Alma. In this case, as I'm using a demo environment, we already have everything activated. So we have the Internet Archive viewer, the Alma viewer, the Universal viewer. And of course, you can add that service in here. Inside the viewer, you can set up your service availability rules. So in this case, for the Internet Archive viewer, we have set it up that it will use TIFF files, the TIFF files, because it has a high resolution. At the same time, we have added to be used for books. However, it is disabled. You can add rules here. So basically, the rules that you can, the parameters that you can use is like different material types, different representation types, or different usage types. So maybe, you want to specifically use this viewer for a specific representation in your library or a different material types in your library. So then you can add that service availability rule. At the same time, we are using the Alma viewer for the master. You can see here the master viewer. Also, we enabled to use the new viewer, and the universal viewer is being used for derivative content. This brings us now that I'm still here, let me go back to the fulfillment. Let me showcase to you as well the access management, the access rights and the copyright management. This is where you can configure your copyright statement and your access rights. So if you go to access rights, you can add a new access rights in here. This is where you can set up the control digital lending or other access rights. In this case, we already have a lot because this is a demo, a demo environment. You can add access rights in here. Let's say you give it a name. I'm just going to give it a new name here with the numbers because I have been testing a lot. So it doesn't want, Alma don't like that you use always the same name. Then you can select a copyright here, and then you can provide description, denied note, and denied override for unregistered user. You can actually place a note whatever you want in here, depending on your the requirements of your library. And here you can add a rule. And within the rule, the parameters that you can use are, you can actually select specific, let's say, maybe you want to have specific users ID or user group or registered users or only to view this content. Or maybe this is being used for a course, so you want only Legante users to have access to this content. And then as well, you can use IP ranges, embargo, DNS, and here at the top, concurrent users. The concurrent users, you can provide numbers of users. Let's say maybe you just have 4 licenses for a specific book that you have scanned. You created a digitized version of a physical record. You have 4 licenses, then you want to provide 4 users that can view that in a span of 60 minutes, or I don't know, more than 60 minutes with there. This is just an example. So the minute you add it in there, you can have an option to enable your waitlist management. So you enable the manage access waitlist, and you can provide a grace period for your users to access the content. At the same time, if you do not want the waitlist to be available outside your library hours, you then, of course, can specify here a specific time from to that belongs within your library hours. So the waitlist management is available only from that specific time. Very importantly, you can also here disable the allow download. I know a lot of libraries do not allow download. Maybe there are some videos there that you don't want to be downloaded, or important digital files that you do not want to be downloaded. So you need to disable it from here. Then you save your access rule, and then it's ready to go. You can already apply that to your resource. In this case, I have already created 1 users within 2 minutes because I want to showcase the controlled digital lending here. So we have 1 users within 2 minutes. I have the copyright there. I have the denied note telling that you need to join the waitlist to view the content. And if you're not registered, then you get the not registered denied note. I'm providing 1 users within 2 minutes. It is actually the same process that we've seen a while ago. You can see here, I'm just enabling the waitlist management. It is really very straightforward. So I suggest to play around at your sandboxes. So we actually did already apply this resource in Alma. So I'm now going to, let's say I'm going to open it here, the paintings by Leonardo, and it should tell me that I'm not allowed because I'm not registered user. So I'm going to sign in. I'm going to use my Yvonne account here, and it should provide me a way to access this now. So if I click this digital resources, I will open the Alma viewer. I will have to close, accept the copyright, and now be able to enjoy this beautiful digital resources from the works of Leonardo that we have just recently uploaded. And here I will have different options, like it will tell me how much time I still have viewing this content. So I still have 1 minute and 30 seconds in there, so I can just see the functionalities of this viewer, see if there are other stuff in here, the description, I can just, enjoy that. At the same time, if another user is wanting to access this, let's say I'm going to open my Primo in another browser, and I'm going to sign in with another user. This is Sarah Carr. I'm logging in as Sarah Carr, and let's say Sarah Carr will going to search for the paintings by Leonardo, and she will find it. She will click on it, and then she will get a message saying you need to join the waitlist to view this content, because there is already another user. There is already a user who is viewing it. So when she clicks this, then the waitlist will going to appear. The number of concurrent users has reached the limit. Join the waitlist, and you will receive an email when that resource is available. So she needs to join the waitlist. And then a notification will be sent to her to that email once the resource become available. This user will have 10 minutes to start viewing the resource before it will pass on to the next user in the waitlist. That's basically the grace period that we have enabled, 10 minutes grace period before it will pass to the next users. If we have a long wait list here, maybe we have 2 or 3 or 4 persons waiting, then they need to have 10 minutes. Here we still have 60 seconds. The other user here, Yvonne, who is using, who is enjoying this digital resources. So once this session expired, then the other users will then be able to access the digital resource. She will receive the notification that the resource is available, and these users will no longer be able to access. She would need to rejoin the waitlist. She will need to renew her permission because the session expired. So which is now expiring. We have 11, 10, 9 seconds or 8 seconds. If I now go back here, let me just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If I go here now, and let's say if I click this by Sarah Carr here, she will get the copyright statement, and now she'll be able to enjoy this digital resources. And this Sarah Carr now have again the remaining session before the next user will need to be part of the waitlist. You can see here the session expired for the first user. So that is how the patron waitlist for controlled digital lending works. Now I want to show you another beautiful file here when it comes to digital content. So I have some mixed content here in Primo. We have a collection with different mixed content. So you can actually add, like for example, PDF, audio, video, images, and other files within your collection, and you can also already enjoy them inside the service page. As you can see in here, if I play this Franz Schubert, I can enjoy them very nicely. I'm not sure the WebEx will let you hear the audio there. At the same time, there is a PDF in here where you can already use the functionality of the PDF inside the service page. Service page you can download, you can print, you can set it into a full screen view. You can see here it's actually going in a full screen view, and you can already zoom in, use the functionality of the PDF here inside the service page without going to the viewer. We have an image here, and we also have a very nice video. You can see you can even do a full screen within the service page. And of course, you can access them all by using the viewer in here. So from the viewer, you can see all the files within the collection, and then use the viewer to enjoy the digital resource. Also, a very nice example that I want to showcase is the articles from a newspaper. We have a very high resolution newspaper here. So if I open this, it will use the Internet Archive reader. Hold on a second. Already here from the service page, I can already use zoom in very nicely here. You can see if you're having a nice high resolution image, you can actually have your user really enjoy the high resolution functionality here of Alma Digital. At the same time, inside the Internet Archive Reader, you have also the option to flip this newspaper. So read it by using flipping it to the right. You can see there and really enjoy the newspaper flipping thingy. At the same time, if I search here, let's say I go search within the newspaper, the Internet Archive Reader will also going to tell me where exactly are the keywords from my newspaper in there. You can see if I zoom in, I can nicely enjoy this very high resolution of this TIFF file from the Internet Archive Reader. So that is actually the examples we have for the digital resources. This brings us into our last bullet. I'm just very keen of the time. We still have a couple of minutes here left. So I'm just going to open the digital resource management roadmap here that's available online. You can find this under Alma, Product Materials, Roadmap, and Teams. And here you can find the digital resource management roadmap overview. So we have the roadmap for this year, to 2021, the first half. The second half, basically, we are preparing the controlled digital lending queue management. And then we have the triple F V3 support. We have the batch file download. We have the autonomized copyrights, the advanced digital delivery as well coming in at the end of this year. Then somewhere the first half of the 2022, we're going to enhance the UX with digital title staff search. We have new staff search results for representation and the full text OCR. Somewhere the second half of 2022, we are going to be having the exhibition view in discovery, the advanced control digital lending, and then we're going to enhance the UX with digital file staff search again. And then lastly, we have the collection tree in there. So down here below, you'll find the details of all these features that's coming in. So the control digital lending queue, basically it will enhance the services for digital resource lending. We're going to find a way to see the queue inside Alma. So the patrons registered for digital resource, which is limited by the number of the concurrent users, will see the queue for this content lending. And then we have the support for TwoWay, which is going to be upgraded. Then we have the batch file download, the autonomized copyrights, and then advanced delivery as well that will support the rendering of the 3D objects. So that is exciting. So we're going to have 3D objects inside our Primo Discovery and also within our Alma services. Then somewhere in the first half of 2022, we're going to enhance the UX with with digital title staff search, with some highlights here: ability to use multi-value, ability to perform cross-page bulk operations, and quick actions in there, and also for representations. Also, we're going to have the full text OCR to generate the full text Alto XML. For the second half of 2022 to 2023, we have the advanced control digital lending and the exhibition view in discovery. And lastly, here below, we have the collection tree. very nicely. We are coming into Alma, the collection tree, where you can see the different ID in there. So we are improving the way we're looking at the collection inside Alma. And all the files that we have used in here, the link are available here at the related documentations. You can see we also have Alma digital training videos. I want to point out, if you need to go deep into understanding how you can prepare the metadata file, I suggest that you use this link for the training, Alma Digital. Here you can follow videos when it comes to everything about the Alma Digital and the workflows, the book workflow, the preparation of Dublin Core XML, preparing CSV file, the Mark XML file, and the import profile. Here as well, you can see the digitation workflows. And other very important videos, training when it comes to Alma Digital. So don't miss this as part of the document. Okay, so if not, then you can contact me directly at my email if you're interested at adding Alma Digital at your Alma, current Alma environment. And if you have any question, again, you can directly send me an email. Thank you again for your participation here with me today. And I wish you a nice day and talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.